This is Calc 173, section 5.1, problem number 1. And it says, what's the exact value of the area under e to the x from 0 to the 4? Now, of course, e to the x is an exponential. It looks like this. And if we're going to go from 0 to 4, we're going to find the antiderivative of e to the x, which is still e to the x, evaluated from 0 to 4, which is going to be e to the 4 minus e to the 0. E to the 0 is 1, so it's e to the 4 minus 1. That's the exact answer. A decimal approximation for that would be e to the 4 minus 1, 53.59815. I'm going to write that down. It's approximately 53.59815. Okay? Now it says, on this interval, do left 2, right 2, trapezoid 2, midpoint 2, and Simpson 2. And compute the error for each. So if I'm going to do left 2, I got to divide this into 2 bars. And if I'm going to do left 2, I'm going to use the height on the left side for the first bar and the left side for the second bar. So the left side here is e to the 0. And the left side here is e squared, because I'm putting 0 and 2 in for e. So left 2 will be, the width of the interval is 2, and the height of the first one is e to the 0, which is 1. The height of the second one is e squared. So the value is 2 plus 2e squared, and in decimal, that is 2 plus e squared is 9.38. So that misses by a lot. It's a lot less than the actual area. Well, there's a lot of area underneath there. So the error is, let's see, I'm going to go back. I'm going to go store that in L. L is alpha parenthesis. So that answer is in L. I'm going to put this one in the exact, so I'm going to put it in E. So got to go back a couple here. E to the 4 minus 1. Store that in alpha E for exact. And so now I need to know the difference between the exact and L, and I'm going to do it in a decimal, so it's going to be approximate, not the exact. So I'm going to go E minus L, and that's 44.20. A lot of error in that. Okay, now I'm going to do right. Well, to do the right 2, I got to do the right side height, which is going to be e squared. And the right side of the next one is going to be e to the 4th. And each of those bars is also 2 wide. So I got to figure that one out. So I'm going to type in 2 parentheses e to the 2 plus e to the 4. And I'm going to store that in, this is right, so I'll store it in alpha r. And that's too much. This is going to be an overestimate. It's 2 times e squared plus e to the 4, which is 123. You can see it there. And now I'm going to find the difference between r, e, and r. Alpha r minus alpha, the exact. And the error is 70.38-ish. Still a lot of error, 40 or 70. Trapezoid 2. Well, that's the average of these two. So that's going to be L plus R divided by 2. Alpha L plus alpha R divided by 2. That's 66.68. And how does that compare to the exact? Well, that's closer yet. I'm going to take that answer minus the exact, and I get an error of 13.08. The error is getting better. Let's do the midpoint. Notice this one was over the 53, so the midpoint should be under. Now the midpoint 2, I would have to find the height at e at 1 and 3 times the width. So it's going to be e to the 1 plus e to the 3 times the width of the intervals, which is 2. So e to the 1 plus e to the 3 times 2, and I'm going to store this answer in alpha m for midpoint, and it comes out to be 45.61, which is under, oh, that's this answer, not the error, 45.61, that's under. Trapezoid was over, and trapezoid and midpoint should both always be on opposite sides. So let's find the error here. So subtract alpha e, and we get it's off by 7.99. And it's minus and that one's plus. Now let's do Simpson. So Simpson says take 2 of the midpoint and 1 of the trapezoid and divide by 3. So I'm going to go parenthesis 2 times my midpoint plus the trapezoid. Did I put enter trapezoid? Did I ever save it? I don't think I did. Okay, trapezoid is parentheses left plus right divided by 2, or times 0.5. So that's the trapezoid. And 2 of the midpoint, that's half of the that's the trapezoid, half of the average of the left and right, divided by 3. And so the Simpson rule gives me 52.63. And if I subtract the exact where's E? There it is. I get missed by only 9.7-ish. So huge error, not so bad. Getting better, the best estimate. That's what it's trying to point out for Simpson. Then it says, oh, that's not Simpson 2, sorry. It could be considered Simpson 2, but Simpson 2 is really supposed to be midpoint 1 plus trapezoid 1, 2 midpoint 1s over 3. So I didn't do midpoint 1. So 2 of midpoint 1. So only one bar, so that would be at the midpoint is at 2, and that height is e squared, plus trapezoid 1 would be height of 0, height of e to the 4, so it's 0 plus height of 1 plus e to the 4 divided by 2 times the width of 4. Oh, and the midpoint should have been times 4 also, because the width is now 4 at the midpoint. So there's that divided by 3. That's what I should have typed in for Simpson 2. So let's work that one out. Parenthesis 4 e to the 2 to be at the midpoint plus the trapezoid is going to be the width of the interval times the left and the average of the left and right hand heights. So and I got another mistake. I got to do 2 times the midpoint. The midpoint height is e squared times the width of 4, and I got to do 2 of the midpoint. 2 of the midpoint plus 1 trapezoid. This is the trapezoid, width times the average height. This is the midpoint, and 2 of those divided by 3. So I got to go back here and make this 8. E squared plus 4 times, well, if I take 4 times this, the 2's will cancel, so I can just put 2 times 1 plus e to the 4. Oh, close parentheses. So 4e squared is the midpoint, and I want 2 of those. Then the trapezoid is the average of those times 4. The average has a 2, so that cancels, makes that. And then I got to go parenthesis, all of this divided by 3. So I get 56.76. So I'm using only 1 bar instead of 2 bars, and I'm still really close. Let's see, I'm going to subtract e from that, and I'm off by 3.17. Now, what I did before was Simpson 4. If this was 2 and 2, then that's Simpson 4. Okay. So now it wants me to do more bars. I think you got the idea of how this works. And they want you now to calculate some more of those. But I think that gives you enough to know how to do this problem.